You're watching Cartel TV and I'm Simone. Today I got the Ranger Raptor. It's vying for the top pick in the high-end Australian ute market, so this should be good. The Raptor went all modern. During its transition, it added a lot, but also kept a lot of what made the Ranger beloved. It has an incredibly advanced suspension setup that makes it great in pretty much any condition. It has cool looks, it has some modern interior perks, and it is one of the best, if not the best, off-roader in its class, thanks to serious engineering upgrades from Ford's performance-oriented engineers. Oh, and that engine choice is pretty controversial. In terms of design, the Ranger Raptor is definitely easily distinguishable from the regular Ranger. It's more aggressive and gives a hint of a performance vehicle, despite its body style. The grille alone is enough to up the aggression with these large letters, instead of the more stylish and definitely more timid blue oval. So here's a little hack. If you're a regular old Ranger driver and you prefer this grille, then you can actually buy it and replace the standard one. Fenders are also more prominent. Even though they add to the looks, they also have a practical purpose of providing more space for the dedicated suspension and wheels. The wheels are 17-inch and they're surrounded by these amazing off-road BF Goodrich tyres. You also get magnesium die-cast side steps, dyno-grade door handles, tailgate handle, front bumper and mirrors, mud flaps, LED DRLs and fog lamps, underbody shielding and front bash plate, unique rear bumper design, front and rear recovery hooks, strengthened chassis frame, 12-volt socket in the headliner, load box illumination, and many other things that show that this thing is loaded with off-road features. Now, many people complain about the engine, and while I totally feel your hate and empathise where it's coming from, I will say, try it first and then see how you feel. And as you can tell by how dirty it is, we definitely tried it. The hate comes from the fact that it's a 2-litre diesel in something that's supposed to be a performance vehicle. However, it is a bi-turbo diesel with 157 kilowatts of power and 500 newton meters of torque that's available at just 1,750 revs per minute. This is actually a bit more than the 3.25 pot gave. With official fuel economy of just over 8 litres and a fuel tank of 80 litres, the range of the Raptor is great. However, the modernising approach also removes a lot of the freedoms that the older models had. That is, if you're a mechanic who likes to play around. Most parts are sealed, so not accessible. And if something goes wrong, you're not very likely to be able to fix it en route or perform a temporary fix. You will need a good Ford mechanic with good equipment for anything engine related. Another issue people have is that towing capacity is lowered to 2.5 tonnes, and you can carry up to about 750 kilograms in the load bed. That's still a lot of pulling power, and the difference is a nice trade-off for the benefits of those Fox shocks when it comes to hitting bumps and potholes at high speeds or landing after high-speed jumps. So let's see how it drives. Think about how you'll use this vehicle. It's supposed to be a performance vehicle, but you won't be driving it on tracks very often, or really ever. In most cases, the Ranger Raptor will be used on rough terrains or in city motorways and streets. The gearbox and engine combo is great for these conditions. You get enough torque for pulling out of rough spots, and you get enough power and range for comfortable motorway cruising and getting up to speed. You won't be breaking those speed records, but it's still quick and practical for the day-to-day. This being said, I'd love to see more power in the Ranger Raptor, not just for the fun of it, but also for those high-speed times when you want to increase the speed further to overtake. The same goes for heavy acceleration from a standstill and towing very heavy loads uphill. These are the only two occasions where you'll objectively need and wish for more power than the 2-litre has. Most of the benefits come from 2 turbochargers connected in sequence. In lower revs, both turbos work together to improve torque. As revs build up, the lower pressure turbocharger takes over. The 10-speed gearbox works really well, and the top torque is available from just 1,750 RPM. But it also somewhat reduces from just 2,000 revs per minute. Driving in higher revs does not make the engine feel lacking, but having 10 speeds means that the gearbox has a lot of playing field to always keep the engine in comfortable revs. Suspension is a work of art. The Raptor is surprisingly comfortable on regular roads, and it soaks up bumps with confidence. But this in no way reduces its off-road prowess. This thing is a mountain lion. Utes are either too rough when not loaded or strained when loaded, more often the former, but when viewed from the ute perspective, the Raptor found the right balance. It's among the most comfortable utes on the road and by a great margin, and it's possibly the best off-roader in Australia in this class. Just one of the examples are the racing Fox shocks used on the Raptor. The company is revered by off-road enthusiasts on 2 wheels, and Ford acknowledged this. The specially designed shocks employ a bypass tech that increases damping forces at the end. Long suspension travel allows soft setup in the middle, which increases comfort on bad roads and allows hitting bumps at high speeds with confidence, rarely seen on jumpy utes of the past. Now, these numbers are great, but I just can't resist the temptation to compare them to the recently reviewed Suzuki Jimny. Can we just flash them somewhere here? Off-road, the Raptor is great. The mentioned differences in design and suspension allow for 283 metres of ground clearance, 32.5 degrees of approach angle, 24 degrees departure angle, and a ramp over angle of 24 degrees. All of them put together, the Raptor is probably one of the most advanced regular off-roaders in the world. Also, I need to mention there's a driving mode called Baja that turns this vehicle into a proper sand, dirt or mud racer by turning off much of the traction control. I'm not sure there are many vehicles in this class that allow you that level of drifting control. Other terrain modes, as they are called, are normal, sport, grass, gravel, snow, which has to be paired with 4 high, mud, sand, and rock, which only works with 4 low. Yeah, they weren't very imaginative with these mode names. Still, the Raptor has many advantages over the small Suzuki, and many of those are in the way it drives, the load and towing capacities, and on the inside. On the inside, I have to say I'm a little bit disappointed. I mean, there are some great features, like these really good, comfortable and supportive seats, this unique steering wheel and exposed blue stitching and similar. But for a vehicle that boasts previously unseen on-road cruising comfort, I did expect to see a little more style on the inside. The controls are placed really well. You have the touch screen, then the climate buttons under it, and some more drive aid controls around the gear lever. That is very, very practical, but again, not particularly good looking, if that's of interest to anyone. For a ute, this layout is definitely a good idea. It's practical, easy to use, and easy to read for information. But for the price, it should be plusher. In terms of practicality, you get all your bottle and cup holders, decent sized cooled central console, 12-volt socket, USB ports, and similar. I've praised the front seats and they are truly amazing. The rear ones are less so, but they're sufficient, especially for Shane. Legroom is just like in the regular Ranger, which means most people won't need more, and the same goes for the headroom. The 8-inch touchscreen includes Sync 3, satellite navigation, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and it does its job pretty well. In terms of safety, the Raptor is obviously one mean machine. It can take a beating and help you survive it. However, it also lacks some modern electronic nannies. What you do get as standard is ABS, dynamic stability control, emergency assistance, brake assist, auto stop start, hill descent control, hill launch assist, lane keeping, lane departure warning, load adaptive control, e-locking rear diff, my key, rear view camera, rollover mitigation, 6 driving modes based mostly on the terrain conditions, traction control, trailer sway control, and traffic sign recognition. Okay, so what's it like? Well, it does lack a little bit of class on the inside, and I'd like to see an engine from the F-150 in it. But this is also the most fun I have ever had in a ute. The speeds at which you can drive this thing off-road are just incredible, and the driving modes make it a real beast on all terrains. It's also the most comfortable ute on road. The tyres are a bit noisy, but they're also incredible off-road. And the Baja mode is just so much fun. All this off-road fun isn't cheap, and the Raptor carries a hefty price tag of around $75,000. The price is a little ouchy, but the Raptor is an incredible vehicle, and possibly my favourite ute of all time. However, I expect that's only a base to build on, and I think the Raptor will continue to get better over the next few years. I'm just not sure if there's any room for an increase in the price department. Thanks for watching Carshell TV. Now, if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel and join us on social media. Now, Ranger Raptor, is it numero uno? Do you think it's the #1 pick when it comes to utes in Australia? Let us know in the comments below.